Live for fuck it. We're live. Welcome back.
Welcome back. We're in the early prelims and the prelims on this portion, episode 143. The Beefy Boys break down every single fight on every single card. That's why you're motherfucking ass should hit subscribe right now. And yeah, man, we're going over UFC 292. Sterling O'Malley. Main card was honestly the main event saved it. Thank God. The co-main was pretty gassed too. But honestly, I like these prelims. We have fighters I personally care about. Like I'm big on Natalia Silva. Less high on Andre Petrosky, but unfortunately it looks like he's probably going to matter soon. We had the tough finales in both the weight classes, which I was a mark and watched the whole season of this garbage-ass shit. And then Gregory Rodriguez, we had RoboCop on there. And then Tavares Weidman, sick fight. Like, that's a good fight for a prelim. I'm here for it. So, I mean, pretty solid prelims to dive into for you hardcores out there that watch it. That's why we're the podcast for you. We're the only podcast going over every single prelim fight.
And for you
Find me another one.
And for you hardcore gambling addicts with a real need for some in your gall, we had a little 5-legger running on this. And it's a prelims 5-legger, which you know we're real dirtbags, and it's only over unders. We didn't even bet on anyone to win a fight.
Over prelim 5-legger that hit 4 out of 5, an absolute
and honestly
heartbreaker.
Got robbed on not getting it because it was $20. It was $25 to win $625. So you guys do the math.
Yeah, cash out of 646. And it was a nut hair away from hitting. Would have been the biggest win of the Beefy Boys podcast betting careers for sure. And you tell us if we got hoed in the comments. But up first on the early prelims, solid early prelims if we're being honest. If we're judging it on the standards of early prelims, I'm here for it.
Pretty solid. Especially when you consider that, I guess the reason we get that, though, is because the two prelims fights that have to be on the prelims are the Ultimate Fighter finales. They couldn't be early prelims. That'd be just a disgrace to their own show. So when that happens, you got to push better fighters down to your early pre's because those guys should be there but can't be. That's kind of what we get here, which I actually don't hate.
Yeah, which I'm here for. As a guy that watches the early prelims, I'm here for it.
Same.
Because we got Karine Silva, finisher, flyweight stud prospect, taking on Marina Moroz. It was minus 140 Silva, plus 120 Moroz, women's flyweight. We had the under 2.5 at a plus 100 value.
This one felt like stealing. Because if you look at Karine Silva's record, she only wins by a finish. And it typically... Actually, she's never had a fight go past the minute and a half mark that she's won. And we thought she was going to win. So we thought under.
Yeah, it was a good... Even Vegas thought she was going to win. Vegas kind of contradicted themselves. Now, granted, something that we missed here in our research, at least I did, I won't put it on you. I didn't realize that Karine Silva's last loss was to Marina Moroz on, the regional circuit
Didn't realize
ago.
That. Didn't realize that. And we did a deep dive. A scumbag deep dive.
And that slipped past us there. So when they started mentioning that, I was watching this one alone, but I was looking side to side, fuck, that slipped past us. but I was all right, we bet the under. And when she lost to Moreau, she got armbarred under 2.5. So I was even the under, it doesn't have to be Silva for the under to cash.
Well, dude, and she wobbled her in the first 2 minutes, diving into it. I mean, she's minus 140, Marina Moroz plus 120. So you expect kind of a war of a fight here that. If both girls are scared of getting finished, then potentially there's, I think that's why we get a 2.5 here, not a 1.5, is because Karine Silva's been finished by Moroz before, so they think she's going to fight slower, not going to rush anything. Bullshit. She went for it, and respect to her for going for it.
Yeah, and this goes down as a 4-minute, 59-second guillotine, but bro, the striking at the start of
her right hand was on her chin every single time she threw it.
Got a knockdown, and then a head kick landed flush as fuck. They could have ended on the head kick anyway. When the head kick landed, as the under 2.5 better, whenever there's a knockdown from a punch and a separate head kick that lands flush.
I was we're in a good spot.
Oh, yeah, we're in a good spot. I thought the same way. All that happened in the first round. Then we don't even, and then we get to her specialty. Like I said, she's a grappler, and she's landing fight-ending strikes. So I was here we go, boys. But it ends up winning by Gilly. 4 minutes and 59 seconds, which, God, when you're sweating an under bet. Because I was here we go. Ooh. She's going to run out of time and then gas herself out, and it's going to be fucking Moreau's time. I don't know. You play games with yourself.
I have an all caps with 1 second left in the first round. That's a casher.
Oh, I was yelling. I'm telling you, nothing. If you want to look like a psychopath, if you live in an apartment building, like bet over unders. Like you're gonna like I was because if you bet a money line, like you maybe have to wait to the decision. Like it's kind of anticlimactic, and
Or you
maybe
get
it's like split
robbed.
or yeah, and it's like over unders. Like you're gonna fucking find out. Like you're gonna find out. Like there's no wiggle room. There's no gray area in over unders.
Like we'll get to the
There's no.
Tululan fight, but we took the under 1.5 there. I'll tell you guys, and there was a good
Oh yeah.
reason.
Oh, for sure, bro. And I think there was a good reason we took Silva under 2.5. It's actually a plus 100. That was value city. Cash is obviously good win for Silva. One of those situations where she avenges her only loss in her career, I believe, and or at least one of the only meaningful losses. She's on a huge winning streak, and bro, she's legit, bro. She's
I like her.
legit.
Dangerous too. Finishes girls. And Moreau's
Finishes like
recently was ranked, so I think we could talk about a ranked flyweight opponent for Karine Silva here next.
it sucks. Is the winner of the Lee Silva fight? Do you think they just match that up, or do you think they just like they
I've
both
thought
get ranked fights, or like?
I've thought about that, but like I think one is clearly more impressive than the other. So I think you reward the girl that looked so much better. The other girl already is going to get a ranking because you know what I'm
Ooh,
saying.
Tracy Cortez is undefeated too. And she hasn't fought in a minute. Or you could do Jazz Vicious at 15, coming off a loss, doesn't really deserve any favors. Make Jazz Vicious fight Karine Silva.
Yeah, I don't hate.
Or
I don't hate
did
Cortez.
Karine Silva already?
She's already beaten Justin Vicious a long time ago.
Yeah, I was about to say,
but a long time ago.
So sorry, let me look at Karine Silva real quick before I make some more casual last takes. No, it wasn't her. It's the next.
Oh, it's the next Silva.
Yeah.
It is the next Silva.
So you can do Jazz Vicious. You can do that. I mean, yeah, I don't see why not. Get her in the rankings. I'm here for it. I don't know.
Shit.
I'm big high on Karine Silva. High on Karine Silva. But we got another Silva to get to. Up next, we got Natalia Silva, the second leg of our legger. We also bet the under 2.5. Now, this was on paper the least likely one to hit, which, you know, we sometimes when you try to be the smartest guy in the room, it bites you in the ball sack. But plus 165 on the under 2.5. But I mean, Andrea Lee coming off some losses, Natalia Silva, you know, one of the most like highly touted flyweight prospects out there, up there with Karine Silva. It really is ironic that they both have the Silva last name, but I guess like 50% of the Brazilian population has that last name. But
Anderson Silva, Bruno Silva, Natalia Silva, Karine Silva.
Yeah. So Natalia Silva beat Jazz Vicious in her fucking debut.
Right.
So
that's why she's fighting 13 here, though.
And then she beat Teresa Bleda with spinning back kick, who Bleda had a little hype on her. And then Victoria Leonardo, kind of like a lower end fighter, but UFC caliber, definitely. And then taking on Andrea Lee here, who Andrea Lee, you know, 5-5 in the UFC coming into this one. Coming into this one on a 2-fight skid. Granted, to Araujo and Barber, who are both savages. Beat Cynthia Calvillo, who's washed. Beat Antonina Shevchenko, who we're not believers in. And then there was another 3L streak coming into the Shevchenko fight. So Andrea Lee, like, kind of easy to pick against as a bettor if we're being honest here. So that's why, like, instead of picking the, you know, minus 325 no value money line, the under 2.5 at plus 165. I mean, you see how we arrive at that conclusion.
It seemed really juicy, especially with a girl like Natalia Silva that can strike so well, and a girl like Andrea Lee that is down to strike. And honestly, I thought Silva would be able to land a devastating shot and get her out. And what's frustrating as fuck about guys that bet the under 2.5, because newsflash, doesn't hit, we don't win our parlay, but every other leg is going to continue to look great.
4 out of 5 on a fucking plus
2,500.
20,000 plus 2,500, yeah. Insane. And see, and like, especially how the fight starts off, bro. In the first round, Silva wobbled her bad with a straight right.
Had her nose busted.
Had her fucking doing the Johnny Walker, grabbing air, and then landed 3 head kicks. Granted, some of them, they weren't all perfectly flush, but
still, when you're already wobbled, you'd expect those to hurt more too.
I agree. Now, were they? And see, and this is going to lead me to my Natalia Silva take here. She started spamming head kicks, which you think as an underbetter I'd be happy about. But I learned something as a better, as an MMA fan, as an MMA pundit, connoisseur, whatever you want to call me. I don't even know what to call myself, quite frankly. But like, bro, there's an like. Remember whenever you would like be in like language arts English class, you have to like read a paragraph and like, what did you get out of this paragraph? Like, what I got out of this was I learned something here. Like, and it's call me Captain Obvious if you want. Like, you have to set up head kicks. Like, you can't have volume head kicks. It's an oxymoron. Like when you think of Leon Edwards, when you think of Justin Gaethje, you didn't see it coming, and neither did the person that's taking it. That's why it worked so well. Justin Poirier Gaethje, recent example in our minds. That nobody expected, like nobody had Justin Gaethje winning by head kick. That's why it worked.
It's a great point. Or if you do land it after spamming it, you've only done it once or twice, and you've missed it very close both times, and you're setting it up each time. Like you're throwing it once per round, and you're setting it up minutes at a time, if that makes sense.
Yes, and Silva started like spamming head kicks like it was Mortal Kombat.
And what sucked is they would land, but she also became super. You know why she couldn't open up Lee? Because she did the exact same footwork and feints the entirety of the 15 minutes. It started to make me so mad in the third round when she kept doing the little step up left leg thing, like fake teep, like knee raise, like Muay Thai step almost. Okay, bitch, you done it the whole fight and you haven't thrown a kick off of it. Obviously, you're not going to.
It reeked of like just like Tekken spamming. Like she was just spamming head kicks. Like she just kept doing the same setup, the same combo.
Just zero octagon IQ. Because she could have gotten out of there. And I also thought whenever she was like spamming those head kicks and was getting Lee like pressed against the cage, she could have then pressed her against the fence with hands because her hands were landing.
Yeah, I thought she should have used way more boxing, especially given the first impactful moment of the fight that set the tone for the fight was a punch. And she kind of didn't go back to it. She just essentially spammed head kicks.
And her nose was leaking. Like, why not keep it leaking?
Like, you think as an under 2.5 better, you'd be like stoked. But like halfway through the second round, I was like, bro, this
I already knew.
Will get it done.
I already knew. Yeah, when we hit the 7.5 minute mark, I was like, oh, she has 5 minutes, but like her strategy is not gonna do it.
Exactly, bro, which was a tough.
And Andrea Lee, I also am pissed at Andrea Lee because she didn't change her approach at all. Her coach just kept telling her, like, go for it. You got to do anything. You got to do literally anything. And she kept doing the exact same dog shit moves that got her into the point where she couldn't even, like, throw strikes back, which allowed Natalia Silva to do the same 4 feints over and over. It was like this dog chasing its tail kind of like a fucking dog and pony show. It was horrible to watch it. And in honesty, like, I know as Silva's camp, like, it's 30-27. It's not even close. Like, that's a win. That's your money. Whatever. You know, it's however you get a win is however you get it.
Gets her in the rankings, too.
Yeah, yes. But as a fan, as a guy that's going to, like, now she's 13. And as an underbetter. It's tough. Like, she didn't move the needle very well in this fight. Like, she doesn't move the needle the same way.
Especially after the Karine Silva fight.
And that's the thing. That's the thing and that's the girl that's right behind her, who's winning in better fashion.
And you could argue it's a bad matchup for Natalia Silva.
Agree.
Yeah. I think we can get some plus money on Karine Silva if they ever fight, and I'm taking it.
And I would take it.
Yeah. Parlay dies on the second fight of the early prelims. It's a real gut puncher. But I mean, close to hitting is a tough one, man. Tough one. But we'll keep it pushing.
This was your Einstein on the parlay legs.
Yeah. So there was a lot of in our group text this week. There was a lot of like kind of back and forth over not who's going to win this fight. I think everybody and their dog really had Petrosky beating Mearschart. Vegas had him at -240. Gerald Mearschart +195. So it wasn't really a matter of if, but like when and how Petrosky would beat Mearschart. And Michael, who's honestly a lot better sports gambler than me, said that he liked the under here, and even you were kind of torn, kind of a little back and forth. I stayed pretty steadfast, and that's not to shine my own wheels. I just I ended up talking the boys into the over here at minus 150, which I agree with Vegas. That's why I'm not pumping my chest
But it
out
was
too hard.
one and a
Like Vegas
half,
thought,
right?
yeah, yeah. Actually, this is another weird thing that
This was the
happened at the
weird thing, was
sports
the
book.
1.5, because we had talked about 2.5 and we're
In our,
okay
in
with it.
our Yeah, in our research, we were debatably going over 2.5. Like I thought, but Petrosky has a wrestling heavy style. His striking's not great. Now he's kind of a plus athlete. And he's a strong, mean guy.
And
But I'll
Meerschaert's
give him as
slow starter, kind of chinny.
exactly. So like Meerschaert's chin, I think is the reason why people were going under. And it almost, dude, the under almost hit. I mean, Meerschaert got chinned in the first round and hung on by a thread. So like I said, I'm not puffing my chest out here. And like I said, I took the Vegas favorite. So, but then when I showed up to the sports book, they were giving this at 1.5 at Caesars in Reno at the row. So most of the DraftKings and shit online was giving this fight 2.5. So that was value in and of itself. Like that's why they say like shop around sportsbook, which I kind of find it be fugazi advice because like really you're either gonna be online where you have an account anyway, or like
You're going to like one of 3 books
location.
that's close to you.
Yeah, so like the whole shop around, like really, am I supposed to like go to all 3 places? And
Yeah,
then
like
drive back, or
if online gambling is legal, I guess you can shop at all the different websites. You have an account on all the different websites, like FanDuel, DraftKings, then a Caesars. You know what I'm saying?
also I feel like you have a problem if you have like 4 different logins for placing bets. Like I'm sorry,
Yeah,
like
good point. Like if you're not like sharp enough to just work off the odds you're given on a Caesars line, you're probably not that sharp.
yeah, bro. So the whole like shop around kind of fugazi gambling advice, if you ask me. I mean, but
I think that's like ultra
yeah,
high
so
level, right? Like that's when you're like at the highest level.
like if you actually do this for a living, yeah,
Right.
fair enough. But I was shocked that needed to say the Reno casinos were giving us 1.5 rounds. So like that made the over even more. Like we were debating going over 2.5. So if you're giving us 1.5 at minus 150, like we'll take it
Every
sure.
time. Like every time.
Yeah. And like I come out smelling like roses on this one, like almost not. Like I said, Petrosky has a good first round. He cracks up Meerschaert. Then Meerschaert, showed some resolve, showed a little. It's hard to say chin because he got wobbled like very early, but he hung on there. He hung on there. I gave round 1 to Petrosky, obviously. But Meerschaert was
I
able
did
to
as
make it
well.
interesting.
You know what's crazy? One judge gave round 1 to Meerschaert, not round 2.
I'll say in my notes I have round 1 being closer than round 2. So it kind of, like, if you ask me, it kind of makes sense. If you ask
Man,
me.
maybe I don't. For some reason, I guess Meerschaert getting wobbled in 1, just like the visual set me apart. But I scored 1 and 2 to Petrosky. I thought 2 was closer than 1, but I thought they were both pretty clearly Petrosky rounds.
Me too. Like I said, I have to work close to my notes for 1, but went to Petrosky. Not, didn't lose any sleep over it. And then round 3 sounds like you gave it a Meerschaert, which was fun to watch. Like especially as an over better.
And when
like,
it's already cash, and you're just like, fuck yeah, like go to war, boys, do what you want to do.
Yeah, what they did, it was an ugly, gross war.
Yeah, it was terrible. The last 20 seconds where they were just like
unranked heavyweight.
Bro, when they were swinging like rock'em sock'em for the last 20 seconds, they were just hitting each other on the shoulders because neither one could actually accurately hit the face. It was tremendous.
It was bad. It looked like they had 16-ounce gloves on and they had fucking 4-ounce gloves on. Like, yeah, it wasn't the most technical, but they got after it.
A fun wrap up to the early prelims too, like a fun final fight for an early prelim segment.
Especially the over 1.5 hits. Like clearly the over 2.5 would have hit. So that's where I'll stick my chest out on. Like I was down for the over 2.5, and even that would have hit. So you give us 1.5. And the boys were happy. So, like I said, null void at this point, but this makes us two for 3 on our parlay, which, a little moral victory there. Ends up being a split decision here. Yeah, is that what you were going to get at?
Yeah, I was going to say we can't gloss over the decision here because, like I said, the one judge does give round 1 to Meerschaert, Saul D'Amato, very respected judge, to be fair as well.
And man, that's more in line with my score. Like I struggled to score 1. Like I went back and forth. I landed on Petrosky, but like I don't think Sal is out of line here.
Well, and that's fair, I think, right? So, like, this fight is actually a lot closer than a lot of people at home might have thought. And betting minus 240 on Petrosky, way scarier.
Bad money line, yes.
Yes, than minus 150 for over 1.5. So, like, we actually did hunt the right value in this fight.
For sure. Yeah, Petrosky, bro. I've been kind of a Petrosky hater, but like, bro, he's not minus 240 over anybody. Like even a
No,
debutant.
but he is solid. Like he's a solid roster
One
filler.
that's what sucks, bro. Is because Petrosky, he's won. Is this 4 or 5 in a row? Is this 5?
4 or 5
Oh, no. Bro, he hasn't lost an MMA fight,
since the Ultimate Fighter.
which was an exhibition.
I
That's
know.
crazy.
I know that's why they're building him so much.
One,
And
two,
honestly, to be fair
three,
too,
no, 3,
it seems
4.
like
He
he
grapples a lot.
yeah, he's a way that's what he's known for is being an ultra good grappler.
Well, he beat Nick Maximov in round 1. Oh no, that was no. He beat Phil Hawes in a grappling match, and he beat Brian Nelson. So anyway, bro, I hate his style. I hate his fucking communist tattoo. I hate that he thinks he's really good at MMA and he's not. He called out Bo Nickel.
Dumb call out.
Dumb call out, but as a guy who wants to see this Petrosky like
Yeah, the hype train level is right to see him just get absolutely waxed by Nickel. You're right.
Because the striking, bro, Petrosky has some of like the worst striking in the UFC. I'm including women. I'm including heavyweights. I'm including any kind of qualifier you want to put on that, bro. Like Petrosky striking so bad. Like there's legitimately guys on the regional scene that would like tune him up as far as striking goes.
That's why it was
grappling.
That's why it was so fun to watch him and Mayor Shark go to war for the last 25 seconds, though, because neither guy can strike.
It was like fun, but like in the worst way.
Yeah, fun in like a street fight way, not fun in like a professional like Holloway Volk way.
Yes, 1,000% agree. But Petrosky, man, this win streak continues, and like, bro, I don't think this is going to be the Elidze situation. Like, I used to hate Elidze, and then he kind of like won me over. Like, if Petrosky wins me over, like, I might like legitimately have to do something on air, like chug something or.
What's weird is he fights at Felder's gym in Philly, like, and the Philly guys typically put on a pretty good show in their
Sean
fight.
Brady, all those guys, like, yeah. He reminds me of a middleweight Sabatini more than he does of Sean Brady. Like,
yeah, it's a great way to say it. It's a great way to say it. But I say we keep it pushing, man, because this fight,
we keep it pushing.
This next fight gave me like feelings of Forrest Griffin and oh god, what's his name? Dead guy.
Griffin, God, I knew it, but
Bonner, Stephen
yeah,
Bonner.
Stephen Bonner. Jesus, Stephen the opiate Bonner. All right,
the opiate. Now this fight, man, it's the Ultimate Fighter finale, which I'm sure when Dominic gets back, he can hear me. I'm pretty sure, but he watched the whole season, as did I. I mean, what a dog shit season. Both of us are cheering heavily for Cody Gibson in this fight. Fuck Brad Katana. He's got the weirdest fucking accent of all time. It's Irish Canadian, which almost comes across as like Down syndrome American. It's like a really weird combo. But and plenty of reasons to hate him. Like if you watch the show, prima donna, diva, like just absolute dude you don't want to deal with. And if he was my teammate, like I wouldn't want to deal with him. Like he's too. And in the fight game, I get it, right? Like being self-centered is the best thing you can do. But like, dog, he's so annoying. Like his personality sucks. So whenever he's self-centered, you're like, dog, you're annoying, and like you're not helping me. So like, fuck you.
Yeah, just the super unlikable. Like super unlikable. Like just to oversimplify it. Granted, yes, I heard everything. That was hilarious. That was awesome. Yeah, but just super unlikable. Like the classic like litmus test that MMA fans or really any sport like, oh, would I want to drink a beer with this guy? Would hate to drink a beer with Brad.
Would be like, you'd have to pay me to sit at the table to drink a beer with him. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of fighters where I would pay to drink a beer with him, like Volk or Taito Ibasa. I would pay
so many.
Derek Lewis. I would pay a lot of
the
money.
Mom Blackshear, like you low level guys, like literally.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, there's plenty. Yeah, hell yeah. There's plenty of guys like Brad Tavares.
Star power. Like, yeah, exactly. Not Brad Katona.
Hell, honestly, the Bosherot bros, like I might hit a beer with them. They seem pretty cool. I don't know if they drink because they're obviously so devoutly Muslim, but like,
but like, yeah, Katona and Petrosky, throw them in the group of people that like I do not want to have a beer with, like just unlikable guys. All season, Katona was the least likable guy, and he kept doing this thing with Connor, where like I think we've all had like been through this awkward experience. Where have you ever had a friend that like liked you more than you like them, or like, you know, they thought you were really cool and you didn't think they were that cool? Like we've all had that guy, and like Katona is that with Connor. Like Katona's like, oh yeah, me and Connor have trained for years, and Connor's like, dude, this guy trains at the same gym as me, but I kind of don't fuck with him. And like, I don't know,
yeah,
the vibe was not organic like you would expect it to be. Like you see like Glover and Alex Pereira, they're like, oh, these guys like love each other. Or like even the Philly guys, like Sean Brady and the boys in Philly, like they all are birds of a feather flock together. Like Katona, he's the redheaded stepchild of SBG.
Like I remember in the fight, whenever Connor's guy was going out to fight against Katona, he was like a stiff boxer. He's like, you just dance around him, pepper him up. You'll keep your jab on him. Like he was like essentially telling him like, yeah, you're just gonna fuck Brad Katona up. Don't worry about it. I know about him. He's nothing. I was like, God damn. And then you hear Brad Katona talk about it, be like, yeah, you know, me and Connor would be out on the yacht, like shit like that. And you're like, bro, he hates you. Like he invited the gym out and you just trained there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, there was some like sophomore on the team that never hung with Kittle once, who like tells Kittle stories. That's like, oh yeah, they used to be in the locker room with George Kittle, like
quite literally. And I know who those people are, and they still do that shit, and I see them do that, and it's like, yeah, I don't know, it's just different, right? Because like we obviously have some stories that like
story from time to time, but
like some of those stories I don't even want to tell, like just in defense of him at this point and where he is in his life.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like we made memories together, like, you
know, we'll call it that.
Yeah, and like I don't know, Katona's that guy that's just like all right, I guess we'll like let this guy show up to the party, but like I don't know, like he's kind of, I don't know. I just got that vibe. Like we've all had that friend who like.
Be like if Soapy showed up at a party, like, yeah, it's Soap, like, let him in.
I'm not going to explain that reference.
His accent makes sense. If you think about my comments about his accent, it makes sense. We brought that one full circle.
It's tough. Speaking of tough, we got the tough finale here.
Extra rounds if necessary, extra chromosomes if you're Brad Katona. The first round though, man, like Katona's the biggest favorite at minus 170. I'm just gonna roll into it. Cody Gibson plus 140. I wanted Cody Gibson to win badly. I'm sure you did as well.
But not enough to bet on him, right? We all know that like Katona like has a path to victory. No, I'll eat shit on this one front. Half of me, like I talked about Katona's personality, whatever, not that cool of a guy, whatever. The other half of me not liking him was like on tough. His style was snooze fest city. It was like
hard to win against, like, though.
Yes. So like, granted, I love the over on this one, but I thought it would be because Katona was making it snoozy. Turns out we get an all-time, like you said, Griffin Bonner war.
Like all three rounds, war. The first round they open up, and I was like,
I have the word war in all three rounds of my notes.
Me too. And I even have the so the first round, they're both getting after it. They're both throwing bombs, landing bombs, and eating bombs. I thought I leaned to Gibson, although I did have in my notes that there is a case for Katona, but I thought the damage leaned to Gibson.
My notes are almost verbatim. I leaned to Gibson slightly, but it was more of a volume and pace and pressure. Like Gibson was walking forward.
He was all over round one.
Oh, but it's one of those weird rounds where like
Katona was landing though.
If you make a highlight reel of the round, there's a whole lot of Katona on there. But I thought Gibson worked more, body of work, volume, pace, pressure, but like. You give that round to Katona. See, I didn't even use the word damage. The word damage is like Katona landed probably the bigger shots.
Because they both did a lot of damage. In the second round, I said, in my notes, feels just like the first, extreme war. But then Katona takes that last maybe 60 to 90 seconds of the second round,
Yeah.
which I thought was enough to win the round for him.
My notes very similar. I had Katona won the second half of the round. Gibson won the first half of the round, like caveman terms. And Katona wobbled Gibson in that round, which that was the
Yeah.
first really like guy to really show a crack in the armor. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say the other word, but crack in the armor. And so I mean, Gibson had a lot of success in round two. Actually, the significant strike margin, I think Gibson had like 25 more significant strikes. It was a wide margin.
It was just
but
how he got hurt. He was getting hurt in round two finally.
He got
at the end.
wobbled. Yes, yeah, for sure.
And then in round three, you could tell, like, I don't know how Gibson honestly survived in round three. Like, I thought Katona won that round kind of more clearly. Still a war.
I literally have Gibson's eyes bad.
Yeah.
I know.
Like, he would get hit in the eye at the wrong
gnarly.
spot, and, like, it would almost cause him to, like, fully shut down. But then somewhere the dog in him was like, I'm not quitting.
No, 1,000%. We scored it the same, man. 29-28 Katona. I think the 30-27 to Katona is pretty out of line, but that was kind of the theme of the night. One judge throwing a 30-27, like out of nowhere.
I get it, though, because I do have in my notes the first round you could make the case for Katona, so I can see the path to it at least. But all-time war of a fight. Both guys get 50 grand for the fight night bonuses.
Yeah, fight of the night. The other ones go to O'Malley and Whaley, rightfully so. I don't think we mentioned that on the main card podcast. But, all-time war Katona, without a doubt. Like, I don't want to say won me over, but, like, at least respect. Like, not won me over as far as fan, but, like, won me over as far as respect. Like, yeah, that makes sense.
Right, like, I know he's a dog. Like, when he comes to fight, like, I know he's going to put on a good, like, he can go through a war if he has to.
And credit to Dana White in the post-fight press conference. Cody Gibson gets a contract, too. So
yeah, deservedly so, I thought.
Cody Gibson, though, man, it's tough. He's 35 years old.
I even have in my notes. Like. I even have in my notes. The very last thing I have is low-key maybe both guys deserve a contract. More so, I think Gibson just like a little 4-fight deal. You know, maybe it goes 6 fights, and he just gives you an interesting body to throw in the mix. Tough guy.
Yeah, tough out. Like a good way to tough. Like this was bantamweight, so like the new crop of guys that need tested, he's a hell of a guy to test them against.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we can keep it pushing because we got another tough finale here. This one, I got to admit, I was slightly less excited for. Katona Gibson, I low-key knew would be the
This was still an exciting fight, though.
It was for sure. You got Kurt Hollabaugh plus 145, taking on Austin Hubbard minus 175. I like Cody Gibson more than I like Hollabaugh or Hubbard. You know what I'm saying? There's
exact same. Like, I liked Cody Gibson. That was like one of the few guys I actually like in this tough season. I was like, oh, I like this guy.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. I didn't necessarily gravitate as much to Austin Hubbard or Hollabaugh. But I got to say, it was pretty clear throughout the season that Hubbard was like one of the more talented guys and would probably be there towards the end.
Really good at imposing his style, which, like, whenever he would get in on a takedown or force the grappling, like, he was very good at getting those points, not taking too much damage there, and then being able to finish in the dominant position and winning out from there. In this fight, that was actually where Hollabaugh made his money, I thought, in the first round, was being so dangerous off of his back and being able to get up pretty much at will.
Damn, did we score this differently, bro? I gave round 1 10-9 Hubbard. I liked Hubbard's damage. Those ground and pound elbows were gnarly. He landed that clinch knee to the head, which I don't know. Hollabaugh's clinch defense is dog water. Like, he was literally bending over but not having a hand on the ground. Like, he was literally like, it's like, please knee me. Like, please knee me in the head. Like, I've never seen a guy do that. I leaned Hubbard in one, bro. Like, I didn't even have the word close in my notes, quite frankly. So I don't know.
I had really close. Just I liked Hollabaugh's damage in return. I thought. Now positionally, he lost most of the position battles, so I did score it to Hubbard for that. But I thought the damage was pretty damn close.
Yeah, I loved Hubbard's ground and pound elbows, and I said those standing clinch knees, which Hollabaugh literally just like gave to him, which was really weird. That's what just made me not like Hollabaugh's work was like. Hollabaugh would literally just like bend over in the clinch and was like, please knee me in the head. It was weird.
The first round kind of looked like how the Vegas odds would make it, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Fair enough. And then round 2, Man, this sequence by Hollabaugh, I've changed the way I like write these notes. I like kind of like write down the whole sequence, and like I mean, Hollabaugh, he what is it? He takes the back, transitions the mount, transitions the armbar, transitions the triangle, like just flowing from position to position, just from submission, using one submission to set up another submission, bro. Like high level, bro. Like high level. Like kind of reminded me low key of who's Karen cut God damn it. Is it Gomez?
Lopez.
Lopez. Low key kind of reminded me of Lopez. Not in round one, but in round two. Like, bro, those jujitsu sequences, like from one position to another position, from one submission to another, like Diego Lopez esque.
Very clean. I also thought, like, I retweet the catch from armbar to triangle was so beautiful. That was
Like
the best
slick.
thing. It was so slick.
Like it was like entertaining as fuck to watch. I was stoked.
My favorite meme of the night might have been the Paul Felder like looking to the side like in pure like disgust, like, and it just said, "Imagine getting caught in an armbar, escaping to find yourself in a triangle choke," and it's just Paul Felder's face like, "God damn it."
No, that was a hilarious meme. I saw that one for sure. No, Hollabaugh called out Patty.
What a shit call out. What a dog shit call out.
It's just such an eye roll. It's such a, like, almost, would you say lazy call out? Like research the division, like call out Terrence McKinney or call out.
Well, it felt like a desperation call out too, because he like grabbed the mic at the very end and was like, "Oh yeah," and also like it was like an and also thought. Like it wasn't like he like thought before the fight, like, yeah, if I get this dub, like I'm the Ultimate Fighter champion, blah blah. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna call out Patty. Like, no, it was like in the moment he was like, "Oh fuck, Patty's 155."
He should have called out like Frivola. He would have been better off calling out Frivola, the guy, because if he beats Frivola, he probably gets the Patty shot. Like, I don't know, bro. He's not going to get the Patty fight. Granted, I'll say, I see one scenario, devil's advocate, where like the UFC tries to legitimize this dog shit season of Tough by like trying to make that seem like a big fight, like Patty Pimblett versus Tough season 38 champion, like, you know what I mean? Some type of like promo commercial. I disagree, but I'm saying if that fight happens, that's why. Like,
I can see I see your take on it. I see your take on it for sure.
Like trying to make the Tough, because everybody thinks the season of Tough was dog shit. Like, what is that trope? Like, we just watched the last Tough winner, Juliana Miller. She's 0-2 and looks like dog shit. Like, what does being a Tough champion even mean anymore?
I'd rather be a DWCS person than a Tough champion. I'll say that.
Like, if you're a Tough champion, like, that's what I'm saying. If they try to just legitimize it, give Patty a fight off his injury that they think he can win, try to squeeze some form of fucking legitimacy off the Tough champion. I don't know, bro. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's my path to it happen. But let's keep it pushing to RoboCop, bro, because
also, I was going to say, fourth leg of our parlay, which for people at home that are tracking it, we're 2 out of 3. It's already failed. Andrea Lee can literally suck all the dicks on earth. Tony Kelly's dick, especially because that's her boyfriend. Shout out. That was respectful, I think. I don't know. Point being. Tony
Kelly's like, hell yeah, bro.
Yeah. Well, and he was in her corner, and like he was saying all the things in my head I was thinking, which was like, he was pissed off. He was like, you need to fucking change something. He was like, do anything, bitch. Like, get in her face. Like, you need to make this a dog fight. And she was like, yeah, I will, and then never did. So shout out Tony Kelly. Hope he gets all the head game. And then to our point, our head game up here, cerebrally picking this fight under 1.5. You were a little trepidatious about it, I will say, fairly, rightfully so. Now, my counterpoint to that was Gregory Rodriguez. If he doesn't finish you in 5 minutes, you finish him in 8. Now, that last 30 seconds is the questionable part, but like it is one of those things of like he just goes for broke entirely.
And I think like Dennis Talulian, I think we both view as a guy that like may not be UFC caliber, like
100% agree
career hanging on by a thread. Like, would not be shocked to see him on UFC roster watch if this was the last fight on his contract. And then Gregory Rodriguez is like, say what you want, he's UFC caliber. Like
For
he's
sure.
a dangerous guy.
If
Like
nothing else, like even if his striking was dog shit, he's still a jiu-jitsu like world champ. And he never,
ADCC, right?
yeah, and he never even uses it.
Never. He has knockout power. No, he's a dog for sure. We used to call him Horse Meat Rodriguez. I think we've kind of desensitized ourselves. ADCC famously doesn't drug test, so like this kind of lends to our argument.
He might be back on the Horse Meat Rodriguez after this. Like the illegal strike, which we'll get to, debatably legal, but I think illegal. Ref missed it. Do I think he still wins the fight? Yes. Do I think the finish comes right then? Maybe not. I don't know. Essentially, though, kind of just big bodies his way into a takedown about a minute into the round.
Yeah, well, it was sick, bro, because it was super early in the round. Rodriguez, muscular guy, as we mentioned with the horse meat comments, but like muscular guy. Both guys were dry. He just gets like kind of this body lock meathead takedown where he just kind of like picks him up and slams him, right? Like
yeah, just like essentially body lock and just like trip, side, over, I'm on you.
Yeah, a little bit of a trip in there, but it was a lot of horse meat going on.
Oh, yeah.
Horse meat head, what is combined the two terms. And then, once he gets him down, we get some of the most vicious ground and pound elbows. And see, that's what sucks, because I do believe one of the ground and pound elbows was illegal. However, all the rest of them were some of the most beautiful ones I've ever seen.
I agree.
So it's almost like a technicality. And it came from, you could argue that Tallulian, it's almost like in boxing, if you like turn around and like deck your head, they don't call back of the head punch. Like Tallulian got elbowed in the back of the head because he was basically giving up. So it's hard to really like
it also
die
wasn't
on that
like
hill.
It also wasn't like clear back of the head. It was like if you went up from the ear and then back like maybe like a knuckles, like a knuckle length, you know what I'm saying? Like it was that far back behind the ear, just up on top of the head. So, like, illegal, but very close to not being illegal.
And why was that the target being presented? It was because, like I said, much like in boxing, like, if you turn around and, like, get in fetal position, like, they don't call back of the head because that's on you. Like,
agreed, yeah. You got to intelligently defend yourself.
Was, like, finding a way out of there and was turning up.
That was a tough way to find your way out because after that elbow hit, the maybe illegal one, maybe not, kind of rocked him. But it didn't knock him out. That one's not the one that put him out. The one after that.
Exactly.
The one after that sent him to fucking the underworld.
No, 1,000%. And that's another reason why I don't want to harp too much on the illegal elbows, because the illegal elbow wasn't the finishing shot. The finishing shot was clean. And it may be, like maybe it's recency bias, whatever. I'm sure somebody out there has a fucking clip from 1998 that could dispute me. But like, maybe most devastating ground and pound elbow I've seen, at least in the Beefy Boys era. Like bro, I don't remember a ground and pound elbow like actually sending someone unconscious.
Especially on the side of the head too. Like we always see them on like the top. Like they glance across, they cut real bad, they whip the dude's head to the side. You know what I'm saying? They're dramatic. Yeah. This one was like just the full forearm, like getting pressed onto your face, almost like a stamp.
Really dribble.
He stamped his head off the floor.
Yes, bro, and it was, like I said, I don't even know if this is hyperbole. Like maybe most violent ground and pound elbow of the Beefy Boys era, and I'm not talking about open a big cut, but like I don't remember a ground and pound elbow making a body go like limp. Like I don't remember that. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure it's happened,
and like the vicious level by which like he was like put all of his body weight into.
And we're talking about a horse meat middleweight too. We're not talking
like
about
a guy that walks around at like 220, like dropping his full bow on top of your face, side of your head, really.
For sure, it was brutal.
Easy casher.
Yeah, easy casher. The under hits minus 200. So even that's ridiculous. Vegas
under 1.5
minus 200. That's wild. But like we listened to him, right? Like.
This was one in my book like was too easy to not take unless it was like something crazy. And minus 200 didn't feel too crazy. Minus 240 might have been too crazy.
Yeah, for sure. AirPods hanging on by a thread here, but we just got one more fight to break down. I'm not too worried about it. Up next, we have the middleweight featured prelim between 35-year-old Brad Tavares minus 260 over 39-year-old Chris Weidman plus 210. A lot of people like the value on Weidman at plus 210. I understand why. I thought the money line was too big. Just because Tavares is 35, and I'm just not the biggest Tavares guy. I think he's like mid, but like mid in the best way. Like he's had like
Right.
over 20 UFC fights, like mid enough to be UFC caliber, like the definition of UFC caliber.
He has
Like
A he
not
has A plus takedown defense, and then everything else is like B minus.
It's like B plus striking, right? Like
Yeah, sure. Like he's in that
yeah,
B range of everything else. Takedown defense is like super high level, which makes him like
for sure.
really interesting for a lot of guys.
Yeah, 1,000%. He's been a gatekeeper. He fought Izzy early on. Like he's that guy. He's middleweight, no Magny in a lot of ways. Which I thought was an interesting matchup for Weidman. Weidman obviously had a way more like height on the ceiling of his career, but is clearly plummeting downward. Like
Yeah.
even with injury aside, like even before the injury, he was like I think he was 6 losses out of 8. He was on some Tony Ferguson shit before the injury. So like so it's tough. I understand why Vegas had the money line. I think with our buddy Michael bet Weidman money line. Now, what I like all week, my lock of the week essentially was the over on this one, over 2.5. It was at minus 105. Because the thing is, we all thought Tavares. Actually, we all didn't think Tavares would win. I thought Tavares would win. I just thought Weidman was too much of an uphill battle. Like too much of an uphill battle. Age 39, injury.
Do you know
Blah
what
blah
I
blah.
thought about post like this fight? And for anyone at home, this does go to decision. So we do hit our fifth leg, but not 4 out of 5. Fuck off. Plus 2,500. You can suck my dick, Andrea Lee and Tony Kelly's. You fucking blowjob queen. Uh. Anyway, point being, sorry, I'm just on a rant with this bitch tonight.
It was a bad beat. It was a bad beat. I sincerely hope neither of us run into Tony Kelly at a casino.
Yeah, that would be terrible. Well, I said I want you to get your dick sucked, man. Like, I'll have a nice little chat with him about how I was pro Tony Kelly and all this. Uh, now that being said, man, the dick kick Olympics helped this get to a decision all
Yeah,
day long.
I'll share my own wheels here. My tweet of the night from the @Beefy Breakdown Twitter account. Give it a follow or X, whatever the fuck. But my X of the night. I don't even know what you fucking call that in verb
Post.
form. But like post. Oh, that's weak.
Because you
sauce, man.
repost.
We're back
Like
to
instead of
post.
retweet, you post. Sorry, or you repost
That's
instead of
tough.
retweet.
That's a big L for Elon. That's a big L for Elon. That's not the way I feel. But my post of the night, Jesus Christ, we're talking about Facebook here, but my post of the night was this was power slap for dick kicks. I think there was 4 total dick kick stoppages in this fight, if I'm not mistaken.
And one was
2 in 1 round.
super sus. The one on Tavares that Weidman landed looked like it was more of a liver shot.
Well, it was what was the fight we just watched? It was like where Joe Rogan was up in arms about it. It's escaping my mind. It was like 2 or 3 cards ago. There was like what there was a super borderline nut shot. I don't know. It's okay. I won't put you on the spot, but like
Yeah, I can't remember.
Rogan just was it the England card? I want to say that on the England card was it Leroy Murphy? I don't know. There was a real questionable where the toes hit the belt line, the heel grazes the cup. What do you call that? Joe Rogan was up in arms about it. Everybody had their take on X. And then this reminded me verbatim of that. Like the heel hit the cup, the toes hit the gut. How do you call that? It was like a baseball pitcher fucking, painting the edges.
I mean, yeah, I thought it was a really good kick, if I'm being honest. Like, I had no problem with it. I thought it was a well-placed kick. Yeah, I liked it. Now, you could argue, like you're saying, that it was a low blow. I'm trying to see if it was was it Simmelsberger and Medic or someone like that? Or anyway, point being, yeah, it's the dick kick Olympics. Now, as far as scoring the fight goes, I thought you could score round 2 for Weidman. I thought round 1 was.
I did. I scored 2 to Weidman, and I'll put my chest out on it.
I did too. I had it 19-19 going into the third, which I think is a big stark difference from the judges, and maybe some people at home that have 2018 for Tavares
Weidman
here.
got a knockdown in round 2. It's just like the Lemos.
I know,
round.
and it was right after.
It's just like the Lemos.
And it was after
round.
Tavares started kicking his repaired leg, and Weidman gave him the point, like, you fucker. And then,
It
like,
was
marched him.
gangster as fuck.
Yeah, and then
It
marched
was
him to the
sick.
fence, and then started socking him out for it.
Yeah, it was dope. Like it was everything. Like it was best case scenario. I want to consider myself a Weidman fan. I'll say also not a hot take, but like needs to be said. Best walkout in MMA. Like I'll be sad whenever I'm not here and won't back down on a walkout. Like maybe it was our last time hearing it. I don't know. I love hearing it. I fucking love hearing it. To the point where that's when I do my boxing workouts. I have it on my playlist. It's like a chill song. Everything else is like hype-ass Meek Mill. But I got Won't Back Down on my fucking boxing playlist just for that reason. It makes me think of Weidman. It makes me think of fighting. It makes me think about being a dog and digging. But, like, best walkout in MMA for sure.
Round 3, by the way, I was getting nervous Weidman was going to get stopped from leg kicks.
Me too, bro. It was kind of foreshadowing for the Magny Gary fight. Very similar. But, like, I thought, in my opinion, Weidman responded and was more of a dog than Magny.
Me too.
That's why I don't have any 10-8s in this one. In the Magny fight, I think I had 2 because Weidman wasn't a bitch about it.
Fully agree, man. I had it 29-28 for Tavares. I think the right man wins. I think 30-27 is a little out of line on all 3 judges'
Yeah,
cards.
I agree. Yeah, there should have been 129-28 on there.
I'm not going to say Weidman's like needs to retire, but I'm not mad if he does. Right?
Dana did. Dana went out. Dana called him out. Dana said, "I want to see him retire." I'll say it's looking pretty Tony Ferguson-esque. Like that quick twitch is gone. Like now, the thing is, if he agrees to do some Matt Brown type Legends division fight older guys, I don't even know who the middleweight version of that is.
Yeah, middleweight, it gets tough later on, man. Like, it gets really tough because like the power starts to increase. And as the power increases, when you lose that fast switch, you start getting, like, brutal KOs, so you don't really see those guys get send-offs.
Or, I mean, hell, Matt Brown fights at welterweight. Could you convince Matt Brown to, like, just not cut weight? Fight Weidman at 185?
You're a sick fuck for that. How about Barberena?
I'm grasping at straws here.
How about,
same thing. Oh, yeah, Barberena.
He does fight at welterweight.
Yeah. Well, no, Barberena, his last fight was at 185.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm going to say. He does fight at middleweight now. Like, he doesn't want to cut the weight.
But I'll say that's the option for Weidman. He either gives the fans a couple of Barberena-esque fights and, like, fights that level of guy, but the whole one more run thing. Or, bro, and, like, another BC take. BC called out DC for that. He called it propaganda. Before the fight started, DC was like, this is actually, if you think about it, the biggest fight on its own you can make. And, like, bro, cold. Sorry, I'm fucking my tripod up. Very cold take. Like, that was straight up propaganda. Yeah, but I don't know if you missed that.
I did miss that.
Yeah, DC and Rogan to an extent, but mainly DC was like, yeah, Weidman said this is one last run. I mean, if you think about it, if I was Izzy, I'd probably sell more pay-per-views with Weidman than Strickland. Like, they were trying to, like, make the fucking, like, propaganda argument. It was kind of fugazi.
That's a terrible argument. Holy shit, that's bad. Yeah, Weidman needs to be done. It's over. It's a great career. But, like, let's put a bow on it. Let's be done with it.
I mean, bro, anybody would want him with, like, I mean,
fucking
I would rather
give him Gerald Meerschaert. But, like, both guys need to retire.
Retirement fight Meerschaert, that works. Cash one more check. But also, like, bro, like, if you're worried about getting a paycheck, bro, I'd rather listen to Weidman than Chiesa or Joe.
Or Joe Ben, yeah. Weidman's good on the mic.
Yeah, bro, give Weidman Joe Ben a job. I don't give a fuck. Sorry about it. Like,
better fighter than Joe Ben too. Like, sorry about it.
Yeah, sorry about it. Yeah, literally. No, I think Weidman. I think he'll be taken care of. I mean, he has a lot of fans. I think he's built up a lot of, like, goodwill with the company. I mean, good-looking guy, well-spoken. I mean, I think he could, like, have a career in media. Like, I don't know. I think as a community, we need to make sure Weidman's taken care of. But I don't think that necessarily. I said, well, like, if he wants to fight a Barberena, like, go ahead. If you want to cash one more check, but, like, if we're trying to, like, we can't have the Tony Ferguson thing happen.
Yeah, like, run for a belt, that ain't a thing anymore. So, like,
yeah,
it's fuck, I can't remember the word for it. God damn it, man. They're just like fights that don't really matter, but they're great in name value. You know what I mean? Like that's what you have.
Yeah, like I said, if he fought fucking Barberena on another featured prelim on the New York City card with John Jones, call it a retirement fight. It'd be very similar to Robbie Lawler. Like, let's do that or retire. But like as far as making a run and the biggest fight he can make and all that, sorry about it. That's for good.
Yeah, terrible take. Terrible take. For anyone wondering what's next week, set your alarms to not sleep at night. We have the UFC card that's taking place in the middle of the goddamn morning. And by morning, I mean 2 a.m. to 7 a.m.
That's wild, dude.
I mean,
That's gonna be a weird
that's
night
like Pacific considerations. Is you'd have to be up from 2:30 until 8:30 a.m. roughly. If you're on the East Coast, that means you have to be up from 5:30 to 11:30. It's just
It actually helps me. Yeah, the main card starts at 5 a.m. Being on the West Coast actually helps me.
right because yeah, you can watch the whole thing from like midnight to 5 a.m. or 5:30, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, no, the main card starts at 5 a.m. my time. So it's,
Oh, 5 a.m. your time. So yeah, I'm right. Yeah, so you can watch the whole thing from like 2:30 to like 8:30.
dog, I need to hit up Pablo Escobar for that one, dog. Like,
I'm saying like it almost is better for me because it starts 3:30 our time. I'm probably going to go to sleep super early Friday, like 8 p.m., and try to wake up at like 3 a.m. to catch these fights. Or I might wake up at 4 and like watch them behind.
I'll be real. I wasn't excited for this card because the main event is dog water, bro. Blanchfield Santos, sign me up. I'll find a way to watch it live.
Well, and that one's going to happen at what, like 8 your time? 7:30? Like that's one you could at least wake up for and watch live.
I'll be on my Conor McGregor diet. I don't get you side effects. I can't. Hey, don't judge me. I gotta watch this Blanchfield Santos fight, dog. Oh, Giga's back too.
Yeah.
Giga Caceres?
Yeah, it's a fun card outside the main event, and like it's a fun card overall too. Like matchups wise, it's in fucking Singapore in the goddamn middle of the night.
Oh, Chidi and Jokalani versus Oleksiejczuk?
Yeah, it's a fun
under 0.5 rounds. Oh, this is sick. I'm gonna fucking.
So I'm saying, man, great card. Like honestly, very fun card. Just the worst time on earth to watch it.
Hey, it's all right. You gotta dig deep and find a way. Shout
yes,
out
sir.
Conor
You know
McGregor.
we will. You know we will. Shout out
Shout out
Conor
to
McGregor.
powdery knuckles.
Shout out to Johnny Depp. Shout out to Ethan Suplee.
Charlie Sheen, let's get it.
Hell yeah, legends. Shout out to Mac Miller. Oh man, that one was tough.
Fucking Rick James, man.
Oh yeah. Oh. I know another legend in the game. The Weeknd.
How about Lawrence Taylor?
Oh
Let's
yeah.
go.
Have you heard the stories of the Weeknd though? About what people say about him? That like I've heard some celebrity stories where they say like he does more cocaine than they thought like humans could do. Like he's on like the Chris Farley level of like, holy shit, bro, like how are you doing 8 balls in a night? And he's like looking at you like, let's get more.
Shout out Singapore. All right, bro. Hey, like, subscribe. If you're gonna find a way, hey, some call it abuse, some call it finding a way. If you're gonna find a way to watch this live next weekend, then we're the show for you because this is the hardest of the hardcores here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will be watching the fights, probably tweeting about them live, which is going to be absurdly wild. But yeah, we'll of course be back for the breakdown next weekend as always.
All right, bro. Take